at our house Monday morning. Mama always washed. Always. You've come from a home like that too. Tuesday was ironing day, no matter what happened. You've come from a home like that too. We had a laundry stove in the basement. And how often I've seen my mother. She's always boiled the white sheets in the pillowcases. And one Monday morning, she had the boiler on the laundry stove in the basement. When a telephone call came and a relative was very ill, and they sent for Mama and said, would you please come quickly? And Mama said to me, now, Kathryn, I'll be back. Don't touch anything. That was the wrong thing to say. But I'll be back just as quickly as I can. And after Mama was gone, I thought, I'll surprise her. I'll do the washing. I'll do the whole thing. I'll do everything. And when she comes back, she'll be tired. She'll be so surprised. She'll be so surprised. And I went down the basement. The boiler was full of water with the soap chips in it. I put the sheets in it. I got them out. I put the pillow slips in it. I boiled them, and when they were through, I boiled everything in sight. I boiled the woolens. I boiled the colored clothes. I boiled them all. And then I remembered my excitement when it was all over with. My excitement was so great. I thought, won't she be surprised? I could never tell you the thrill on the inside. I could never begin to tell you how I felt. I could never tell you. We always hung our clothes out on the clothesline, you know. And the parts of that clothesline were a little too high for me, and I went in the kitchen, got the kitchen chair, and would stand in the kitchen chair to pin some of the, I thought some of them were looking a little strange, and I pinned them on. And then when they were all dry, I got the clothes basket out. You'll never know how, to this day, when I'm talking about you, I can still feel the excitement. The excitement on the inside of me. Mama would be so happy. Mama would be so thrilled. I did the washing. When she'd come home, she'd find it all done. 4 o'clock came, 5 o'clock came, Mama didn't come home. It was late and I didn't go to bed. I waited. I had to see her face when she saw what I had done. And I had all the clothes. They were all dry. Had them all in the wash basket. Had them in the kitchen. So the first thing she would see when she'd come home was surprise, surprise. I shall never forget. She'd been in the hospital all that day. So weary. Worried. Probably nothing to eat. And she came to that kitchen door. I'll never forget the look on her face. I'll never. She walked in. And she looked at that clothes basket. And she said, "Mama, I want to know what you're doing." And I said, "Kathryn, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing." And she said, "Well, I want to know what you're doing." And she saw the expensive things that I had ruined. There was a little chalet coat. It was expensive. It was especially made from Kansas City. I had boiled it. It had shrunk to nothing. Some of her best things. I shall never forget her face. She stood there for just a moment. Looked at those things. And then she looked up at me. And she saw my face. I think those were the hardest words that my mother ever had to utter. When she said, "You did a good job." I've often wondered what I'm going to say when I see Jesus for the very first time. No one in the whole world knows how much I love him. No one. No one knows. I would live on bread and water and work just as hard as I'm working today if I didn't get a copper cent, if I didn't get a penny, if I had to hitchhike instead of ride. He knows my heart. I started out in Idaho on 5-cent rolls and sleeping in a turkey house. I'll go back again to the turkey house. I'll go back again to just enough sustenance to keep my body going. And I'll work just as hard. I've given my life. It hasn't been for 6 months, or a year, or 5 years, or 10 years. Yet never having seen him, and yet loving him enough to have given my life to him. I've often wondered in that moment when I see him for the very first time, and I look upon his face, and it's Jesus. It is Jesus. And there he stands. Jesus. I know exactly what I'll say. I know exactly. I know. But love is something you do. You keep doing. But when I see him, I'll say just 2 words. I tried. I tried. In many things I've been so wrong. I've boiled some things when they should not have been boiled. I've used too harsh a detergent and some things where I should not have. I've spoken words when I should have kept my mouth shut. I've made decisions when if only I had waited. I acted in haste when there should have been patience. Standing before you in this chapel this morning, if only I knew right now, if only I could know what he really had for me in many instances. But I ruined the washing. Not intentionally. So help me God, and he knows my heart. I didn't do it intentionally. I wouldn't have grieved him. I wouldn't have gone contrary to his will for a title deed to the whole world. I did it out of ignorance. I did it because I was stupid. I did it because I didn't wait for his leading. I did it sometimes because I listened to other voices instead of his voice. But there was never a time when I didn't want more than anything else for him to keep me as the apple of his eye. And as long as I know that underneath all those everlasting arms, I can face anything. I can face all the devils of hell. I can face the whole world. And it never faces me. Never. Never. Why can I stand with my shoulders square? Why can I speak with boldness? Where do I get my courage? From whom do I get my spiritual strength? From the one whom I love more than life itself. One of these days, I will have preached my last sermon. One of these days I will have prayed for the last person who comes into a miracle service. One of these days my old heart will take its last beat. And the world will call me a fool for having given my life for one whom I have not seen. But in that day, in spite of my failures, in spite of my mistakes, I will stand before him blameless, blameless. He shall present me before the Father blameless. To you know what that means? Blameless not because of my righteousness, not because of anything that I have done, but I'll stand blameless through the perfection and the righteousness of His only begotten Son, my Lord and my Savior. That's what He died